Following some breaking news this morning, the governor making his selection to fill California's Senate seat. As frontline workers and nursing home patients get vaccinated, what major pharmacies say the rollout will look like for the rest of the public. San Diego is seeing some improvement in ICU capacity. How neighboring counties, though, could impact the future of the stay-at-home order here. ABC 10 News at 11 starts now.
ABC 10 News starts now with breaking news.
Good morning. Great to have you with us. I'm Jim Patton, and we do start with some breaking news. In just the last hour, Governor Newsom announcing his pick to fill Vice President-elect Kamala Harris's Senate seat. Newsom appointing California Secretary of State Alex Padilla to fill the vacancy left by Harris. Most recently, Padilla and his office oversaw the state's election and that unprecedented vote-by-mail rollout. Before that, Padilla was a state senator. His appointment comes after Newsom faced weeks of pressure from various groups pushing for representation in the Senate. Padilla becomes California's first Latino senator. Harris won the seat in 2016, so Padilla will hold it until at least 2022. The vaccine rollout continues across the country as facilities everywhere are beginning to get and administer the Moderna vaccine. And today, more government officials making a display of getting a vaccine shot. Dr. Anthony Fauci getting his first dose of the Moderna vaccine, along with a handful of other NIH employees. Health and Human Services Secretary Alex Azar also on hand there in Maryland this morning, getting a vaccine and hoping to boost confidence in the process. This after we saw President-elect Biden get vaccinated yesterday. And today, Fauci says while vaccine development has happened over the course of months, the science behind it has been in the making for much longer.
What we're seeing now is the culmination of years of research which have led to a phenomenon that has truly been unprecedented. A virus that was described in January of this year to less than 1 year later to have vaccines that are going into the arms of so many people.
Health Secretary Azar, meanwhile, reiterating something that we heard Vice President Pence say, that while the process was expedited, these vaccines were held to the same safety standards as any other. And right here in San Diego, more frontline workers being vaccinated this morning. Rady Children's Hospital distributing the Moderna vaccine to workers today, becoming the facility in the county to do so. That 1A group still the focus right now as attention gradually shifts to long-term care facilities after that. After hospital workers and people living in nursing homes receive the vaccine, the average San Diegan, 75 and older, will be next in line. Our ABC 10 News reporter Vanessa Paz spoke with the head of Walgreens, big-name drugstore set to play a historic role in administering the vaccines, and shows us what the process is going to look like.
Right now, Walgreens is administering COVID-19 vaccines off-site at nursing care facilities. Next up, they'll be giving out doses at their locations to Americans 75 and up, and soon after to the general public.
We started last week in 3 different states in long-term care facilities. Already this week, we are in 12 states. The expectation is that as early as next week, we will be in long-term care facilities across the country.
Once that's finished, Dr. Kevin Ban, the chief medical officer for Walgreens, said they could be vaccinating those 75 and up, along with essential workers at other entities, as early as January. The process, he described, will be similar to how they rolled out COVID-19 testing.
People go online, they do a screening questionnaire, and then they use either our app, our website, or they call to make an appointment. So we will be using that type of infrastructure to make sure that people have the opportunity to schedule in advance.
Once that group's done, he said the general public would be next, and that could come as soon as April. He said the state works with the CDC in deciding which vaccines among Pfizer or Moderna will get used, all depending on availability. Since the pandemic, the medical team at Walgreens has worked close with the CDC, along with the U.S. Health and Human Services Department, scoring a major deal with the federal government to be the first entity outside of hospitals to roll out vaccines at a historic time.
And to now begin to see the light at the end of the tunnel and being able to partner with CDC in the states to distribute and administer the vaccine has been a really proud moment.
Vanessa Paz, ABC 10 News.
Well, meanwhile, concern growing over the new COVID-19 strain. Pfizer and Moderna say they are testing to see if their vaccines will work against it. The virus variant has been found in the UK and other countries. Dr. Anthony Fauci says the variant could already be here in the U.S.
Given the travel throughout the world, I would not be surprised if it's already here. When we start to look for it, we're going to find it.
Now, Moderna says it believes its vaccine would protect against the mutation, but they are doing additional tests in the coming weeks to confirm that. Pfizer is generating data from blood samples of those already injected with their vaccine to see if it works against this new strain. COVID-19 has mutated before, and both companies say their vaccines worked against those variations, but researchers who are examining the new strain in the UK are concerned that it could diminish the effectiveness of the vaccines. Well, the state's stay-at-home order expected to be extended due to low ICU capacity in our region. Governor Gavin Newsom saying as much in a press briefing yesterday. But San Diego's ICU capacity here specifically has actually improved in recent days, with 22% of beds open. But when it comes to the stay-at-home order, San Diego is grouped in the Southern California region, and hospitals in neighboring counties are really struggling. LA's availability is at around 10%.
You can only tax a medical center so much before things start to give a little bit. And we are definitely at the breaking point right now. Some hospitals have already reached that.
And experts predict that the numbers could surge again after Christmas and the New Year. Newsom says ICU capacity across the Southern California region will have to improve before the stay-at-home order is lifted. An emergency meeting expected tonight as a North County school district faces an uphill battle in bringing students back to campus in the new year. California Teachers Union has filed a legal petition to block San Diego Union High School District's return to class in January. The school board voted last week to bring back in-person learning for 5 days a week. Teachers Union, though, says the plan is not safe while the county is in the purple tier. It also estimates as many as 20% of teachers won't come back for in-person learning.
And I'm just worried that it's not going to roll out well. I'm worried for equity for students. I'm worried for the many students that'll be affected by teachers going out on leave and having subs for classes.
Well, right now, teachers who are or live with someone at high risk for the virus can teach from home until at least January 22nd. There's no word on what's going to happen after that. After marathon sessions running up against and even past the deadline, Congress sending that new pandemic relief bill to the president's desk, $900 billion package being tacked on to a broader spending bill. ABC's Elizabeth Schulze breaks it down, including how the next round of stimulus checks is going to work.
Help is finally on the way for American households and businesses struggling to make ends meet during the pandemic. And not a moment too soon. The House and Senate overwhelmingly approving $900 billion in COVID relief.
The American people have waited long enough.
The bill extends emergency jobless benefits and an eviction moratorium that were set to expire at the end of the year. It adds $300 in weekly federal unemployment benefits and provides nearly $300 billion in aid to small businesses, plus more than $8 billion for distributing the vaccine. And it includes a one-time payment of up to $600 for individuals making up to $75,000 per year. So a family of 4 could receive $2,400. The Treasury Secretary saying those stimulus checks could show up in Americans' bank accounts as soon as next week. Much needed relief, but for some, too little, too late.
I personally think it's long past due. $600 isn't going to help a lot of the average Americans just trying to get by.
The COVID relief deal was months in the making and comes attached to a $1.4 trillion spending bill to keep the government funded through September. Up against the clock with government funding set to run dry, lawmakers raced to pass a one-week stopgap spending bill to buy more time for the larger piece of legislation to go into effect. President Trump approved that temporary extension and is now expected to sign the bigger spending bill, including COVID relief, into law. President-elect Joe Biden applauding the deal, while Democrats insist more aid will need to be approved under the Biden administration.
Today is a good day, but it is certainly not the end of the story.
While some Americans could start receiving their stimulus checks before the new year by direct deposit, the bill gives the IRS a deadline of January 15th to send out the payments. Elizabeth Schulze, ABC News, Washington.
Happening now, the teen accused of killing a woman on a North County trail appearing in court once again. The teen, whose identity has not yet been revealed, appearing in a preliminary hearing today after being arraigned last week. Teen denies the allegations. Police say Lisa Thorborg was stabbed to death on Hospital Grove Trail in Carlsbad on Thanksgiving week. We still don't know of a motive. A violent attack in San Marcos this morning leading to a SWAT standoff that had a peaceful end. Sheriff's deputies say the suspect, who refused to surrender for hours, had stabbed a man. ABC 10 News reporter Marie Cornell has the latest on the investigation.
For hours, the Sheriff Department's crisis negotiation teams and SWAT teams focused in on this San Marcos apartment complex, where investigators say a man was stabbed and the suspect refused to come out. From above, Sky 10 shows you the area where this all played out on Knoll Road. Sheriff's deputies say it was just before 2:30 Tuesday morning when they were called to check on reports of a disturbance. When they arrived, they found a man who had been stabbed. They say the man suspected of doing this ran into a residence and barricaded himself, refusing to come out. At this point, the Sheriff's Department sent this tweet out, letting people know to avoid the area. Eventually, the man turned himself in. Here's a picture the Sheriff's Department has posted on their social media showing the man in handcuffs. Hours after, investigators walked through the parking lot looking for any clues that can help them figure out what led to the stabbing. The man who was stabbed was taken to the hospital in serious but stable condition. Reporting from San Marcos, Marie Cornell, ABC 10 News.